Dear students, greetings of the day. Welcome you all to the course that is Circular Knitting Technology. So today's session we are going to discuss about the special knitted fabric structures, that is one of the fabric structure, that is you can see that fleece knitting machines or fleece knitted fabric structure. So we will see here what is and how we are going to produce the fleecy fabrics in the knitting machine. We will see that. So particularly, so there are different types of fleecy knitting machines or fleece circular knitting machines are there. So one of the fleece knitting machine or technology we are going to discuss, that is 3-thread fleece. 3-thread fleece. By using the 3 threads, how we can produce the fleece fabric in circular knitting machine, we are going to discuss now. Okay. So the fleece fabrics, so the selected needles are raised to tuck-high to raise or receive the fleecy yarn. So here we are going to use three different types of yarns for production of fleecy fabrics. Okay. So there are numerous applications of these fleecy fabrics, particularly where the comfort properties are very important. Okay. So there are so many application areas of these fleecy fabrics or fleece fabrics. Okay. So now we will discuss how these fleece fabrics are going to be produced. Okay. So you can see here the image 1. So here we have a sinker. Here we have this is the sinker, and we have a needle. Now this is called as the fleece yarn. This is called as the fleece yarn. This is the fleecy yarn. Okay. So you can observe here the selected needles are raised. So you can understand selected needles are going to rise to tuck-high to receive the fleecy yarn. That is F. Okay. So after rising up of the needle, the sinker then moves forward so that the top throat controls the fleecy tuck. So you can observe that the fleecy tuck is going to be controlled with the help of a sinker, while the lowest throat of the sinker controls the previous course. You can observe the two throats. You can understand here. So you can see that this is one throat and this is one second one. Now this will be controlled, or this will be holds the fleece yarn, and this throat is going to be control the previous course of the fabric. Okay, I think you have understood. Once again I am repeating here. You can see here this throat is going to be controlled the fleece yarn or holds the fleece yarn, and this throat is going to be holds the, this is the previous course. So the previous course is going to be controlled with the help of the lower throat. This is the lower throat of the sinker. Okay. So after the moving up towards the old loop, so after catching the old course, that is previous course and the fleecy yarn, we have a second step, that is all needles are raised to clear the previous course. All needles are raised to clear the previous course and receive the tie-in yarn. So the second yarn, which is called as T, that is tie-in yarn. Now you can see this is the fleece. This is the fleece yarn. This is the fleece yarn. So the fleece yarn is going to control the upper throat, and the lower throat is going to control the previous course. Previous course. So the tie-in yarn, after the complete clearing of all the needles, after rising up of all the needles, we are feeding the tie-in yarn to the needle. Okay, so this is the second step. After fleece, what is happening? So the fleece yarn, you can understand here, the fleece yarn is below the latch of the needle. It is not above the latch. It is below the latch of the needle. Then in the third step, what is happening? You can understand here. So the needle, after feeding this is the tie-in yarn. This is the tie-in yarn, and this is your fleece yarn. So now the needle is lowering down. And the sinker is moving backward. This is the sinker which is moving backward, and the needle is lowering down. So now what is happening? So the tie-in yarn is forming the loop. Okay. So after formation of the loop, but you can observe that the tie-in yarn and the fleece yarn are both above the lower throat, nothing but. So this is the upper throat and this is the lower throat of the sinker. So in between that, this one is there, nothing but the fleece yarn as well as the tie-in yarn. So after that, again the upper sinker throat holds the so the sinker is moving forward again the sinker is moving forward to hold the fleece yarn loop as well as the tie-in yarn loop. Okay. So after that the needle is completely rising up, and we are going to feed the ground yarn. This is called as the ground yarn. So as I mentioned earlier, these fleecy fabrics I am discussing, that is particularly 3-thread fleecy fabrics. 3-thread fleece fabric. So what are those three? So one is called as our fleece yarn. One is called as fleece yarn, and the second one is called as our tie-in yarn, and third one is called as the ground yarn. Now you can observe here the needle is not completely raised up. So up to tuck-in position, the needle was raised up to tuck-in position. So this loop, the tie-in loop, which is not cleared from the latch, So without clearing, we are feeding the ground yarn. Without clearing the tie-in yarn loop, we are feeding the yarn. So after feeding, the needle again descends. Now the needle is again descends to tucking in on the latch position. So you can observe here, this is your tie-in yarn. This is the tie-in yarn, and this is our ground yarn. Okay. So this is the ground yarn, and this is our fleecy yarn. This is our fleece yarn, and this is our tie-in yarn. And you can see here the needle again descends to tucking on the latch position to form loops from the tie-in yarn over the sinker crown. So above the sinker crown, the loop one is going to form. This is the sinker crown. So now, after that, the needle is completely lowering down. Okay, so after lowering down, you can observe that the fleecy yarn is separate and these two are going to form the fabric. So the fabric formation is going to occur with these two yarns. In between that, the fleecy yarn was arrested, and because of the complete knocking over of the needle, and after the complete knocking over, after the formation of new course, we are going to take away the sinker so that the one complete course is formed. So this is how the fleecy fabric is going to be produced. And you can see here the sinker is finally withdrawn, and as the needles descends, the new plated course slips on their lower sinker bellies. So these are the sinker bellies, and the old course is knocked over. Very carefully adjusted cam settings encourages the ground yarn to plate on the technical face, that is underside of the fabric structure. Underside of the fabric structure. Okay, so this is the complete stitch formation cycle of 3-thread fleecy yarn. So once again I am repeating this. You can observe here the first image. So where the fleecy yarn which is fed to the needle hook, and there are two throats. One is upper throat and the lower throat. Lower throat is going to hold the old course, that is previous course, and the fleecy yarn which is fed to the needle hook. So in that particular position, so the sinker is moving forward to hold the previous course. After holding out, the needle is rising up. So after needle rising up, we are going to feed the tie-in. We are going to feed the tie-in yarn to the needle, and the fleecy yarn is on the upper throat of the sinker. Then in the third image, the sinker moves backward direction. Okay. Then we are going to form the loop of the tie-in yarn. Okay. And after loop formation, we are going to again rise up the needle and again forward to the sinker, so that the sinker is going to hold the previous course, and after rising up to the tucking in position, after tucking up to the tucking in position, so our tie-in yarn is on the top of the latch and we are feeding the ground yarn. So after feeding it, we are taking down the needle, that is knocking over. So when the knocking over is happening, so on the top of the bellies of the sinker, the ground yarn is going to form the loop, and this is our tie-in yarn, and this is our fleecy yarn. So these are the three yarns. So 1, 2 and 3. Okay. So until the knocking over, so complete knocking over will be done. So the sinker moves retracted or backward motion, and you can see that the fleecy yarn is going to be arrested in between that. So this is the complete steps, 1 to total 6 number of steps, how we can produce the 3-thread fleecy fabrics in case of circular knitting machines particularly. So by using the single bed, that is single cylinder circular knitting machines, we can produce 3-thread fleecy by small adjustments of the sinker movement and the needle movements. So there are additional mechanisms are required to produce the fleecy kind of fabrics or special knit fabric structures. Okay, so this is about the special knitted fabric structures, that is particularly fleecy fabric structure. Okay, so in the next session we will discuss about the double jersey knitting machines or double bed circular knitting machines. Till then, thanks for listening. Bye.